All right, let's bring in Stephen Horrell, who is a senior fellow at the Center for European Policy Analysis. He joins us now live from Las Vegas. Stephen, good to see you. As far as I know, that these Russian drills take place annually, and we've heard from U.S. authorities that Moscow had informed it of the routine drills in advance. So is this something really that we should be alarmed about?
So, as you said, this is an annual exercise. I think it's possible to read too much into the messaging around an exercise. The primary purpose of any exercise is always, of course, the training and readiness that it delivers. Having said that, Vladimir Putin, the Kremlin, are certainly not shy about saber rattling when they do such exercises, even though it was reported and it was expected and relatively routine. There's been a lot of threatening about weapons of mass destruction in and around the Ukraine conflict.
When it comes to training and readiness or even saber rattling, that might be a little too far, but NATO countries are also staging their own nuclear exercises in northwestern Europe. I mean, do you feel that perhaps that both sides have put aside their previous calls to sort of de-escalate tensions, and now they're just flexing their muscles?
So, I differentiate between the two. So, NATO did just have their Steadfast Noon nuclear readiness exercises, but I would note that that was caged with the strategic communications that any first use of nuclear weapons, the use of nuclear weapons by Russia, would be responded to with consequences. And again, look at the messaging that surrounded NATO's exercises. It was about readiness, but it's about deterrence. You have to have a credible deterrent. On the other hand, you could still, of course, say the same thing about Russia's.
Like so many things in life, I mean, timing is a very important concept. I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Russian warning that Ukraine may be ready to detonate a dirty bomb. I mean, is this possible? If it does happen, what do you think the repercussions and how it's sort of going to shape the progress of this conflict?
Yeah, so I'd highlight there's three main pillars to Russia's nuclear threats at the moment. And one of them, of course, is that strategic threat to the US, to NATO, to the West in general. Another is there have been vague messages about the use of Russia using tactical nuclear weapons within Ukraine. They were also, in a hybrid way, weaponizing their occupation of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. But this Russian talk of a Ukrainian dirty bomb is, in the first part, nonsense. Ukraine's doing no such thing. Some of the Russian announcements included pictures from Slovenia's nuclear energy agency and outright falsehoods about what you were seeing with the so-called nuclear materials that they were blaming on Ukraine. That again were from materials from Slovenia. In fact, what that really is as we saw prior to this February invasion, we have an expectation, we're concerned about the potential for a Russian false flag, for Russia, in fact, to have some sort of dirty bomb or other radiological incident to blame Ukraine, to use it, again, as a false flag to escalate further on their own part.
And I think that you also pointed out that the Slovenians had made a reference that that photo was actually more than a decade old. Stephen, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. I do enjoy hearing the analysis. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.